Guys, what's going on? Welcome to Serial at Midnight. My name is Heath.
And I'm Bree.
And we invite you to join us for one of the great debates.
The greatest.
Yes. There's Coke
versus debate.
Coke versus Pepsi, right? Yeah. There's Ford versus Chevy.
Yeah.
And of course, right behind those is Bewitched versus I Dream of Jeannie. Mm-hmm. We're both wearing our loyalties, right? Yeah. I'm an I Dream of Jeannie guy.
Yeah, I prefer Bewitched. But we should say we both like both shows.
I love both shows, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's a debate for fun, right? It's just an excuse.
Just funsies.
It's an excuse to talk about shows that we love that are very similar, that may have... I feel like I Dream of Jeannie is a reaction to Bewitched, but I don't know, let's just...
Well, I mean, Bewitched started in 64.
Yeah.
And I Dream of Jeannie started in 65. Mm-hmm. Though I will say Bewitched ran longer.
It was more successful, by sure.
And I Dream of Jeannie... Yeah, I Dream of Jeannie was 65 to 70, and Bewitched was 64 to 72, I think.
So there's no argument that I Dream of Jeannie existed in a vacuum without Bewitched. It was made with the knowledge of Bewitched existing. And I feel like it was created with the intention of maybe making a sexier, swinging kind of a take. Bewitched is suburban bound.
So Bewitched is like home life.
It's home life, yeah.
Right? Like a married couple going about their daily business, but with the
magic.
The magic of a wife who's a witch, and
the
a mother-in-law who pops in often.
Yes.
And just the shenanigans that go along with that.
And the disapproving husband who's like, don't do that, and then she always does it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I Dream of Jeannie, on the other hand, is that Tony Nelson finds a genie bottle on the... He's an astronaut, so we're already sexier. He's an astronaut. And he finds this genie bottle on the beach, and he rubs it in there, he's got a genie. And it's, of course, Barbara Eden, who is incredibly glamorous and... only wants to make him happy. And it's interesting, right? Because the Bewitched dynamic is like the changing gender roles of 1960s America.
Yeah.
And I Dream of Jeannie still feels 50s in style, maybe. It feels different, but it is more... It's just like he's a single man.
It's more progressive in certain ways.
Yeah.
Like, it's more progressive in that he is a bachelor.
Yeah.
He's an astronaut. And it's more of a party vibe.
And he goes on dates, and you're right, there's parties, and like there's the military aspect, so he's like, where's Tony Nelson this week? Oh, he's in space. Like, he's on a mission in space. But and then, of course, Bewitched is, like, I have to clean the house, but my husband doesn't want me to do magic.
Right. Or I have to clean the house, but I need to go to this witches meeting.
Yeah.
So how am I going to get both those things done? Even though I'm not supposed to go to the witches meeting, because I'm not supposed to be witching, basically.
Right. So let's talk about Bewitched for a second.
Okay.
And focus on that one. Because behind this, so the dynamic is that he doesn't, so Darren... Darren 1 and Darren 2. Yeah. Darren 2 less than Darren 1 doesn't want Samantha to do what she does. And it's, of course, a classic...
To be who she is.
That's to be who she is. Mm-hmm. But that's the setup. Is like, that's the 60s premise for, like, I told you not to do this thing and you did it anyway.
Yeah.
But we were breaking this down. Like, she's thousands of years old, right? Like, she's like immortal. I don't know if she's thousands of years old, but she's been around for a long time.
Yeah, a very long time.
She marries him, and she doesn't tell him that she's a witch or that she has supernatural powers. So she does throw a grenade in the window of Darren's life, right? He thinks he's met this wonderful woman. She is a wonderful woman, but he thinks that, it's going to be...
just like a regular...
white picket fences in the suburbs. He's got the advertising job.
Yeah.
Then he finds out on their wedding night that she has powers from the dark side, apparently. I don't know. She went to Hogwarts. So that's an interesting dynamic, and I feel like it's a cool way for... It's like All in the Family does this. A lot of I'm watching Bless This House from the UK, you know, the UK TV series.
Yeah.
To look at the changing roles in America, the changing roles of society in a way that's not threatening to either side.
Right.
Because Darren is totally understandable in his, like, in being surprised and feel like what you should do this without magic. Like, I feel like, you know, you're looking at me like it's not totally understandable.
Well, I think it's understandable that he would be surprised that she's a witch, because why would Darren expect that?
But then he does try to change her every single episode.
He does. Well, and he gets very angry.
He
does. Not like rationally angry, but just very angry.
And he says things like, I forbid you to do so-and-so, and like, you can't go out. Like, it's that holdover of the 40s and 50s mentality. But of course, what we all love about Bewitched is she just does it anyway.
That's why I prefer it, because she's very rebellious, and he'll tell her not to do something, but she figures out a way to do it anyway.
Now let's switch over to I Dream of Jeannie, which is not this. She does things that she wants to do on her own also, but it's different.
She's constantly trying to undermine if he has a date or things like that.
She's like the jealous single girl who wants the guy.
Yeah.
But
she's always like, yes, master.
Yeah, and
that's
a thing,
don't
right?
deal well with.
Right.
I much prefer the rebelliousness of Samantha.
But you know what's interesting is that so I Dream of Jeannie for so long, for the entire series, it's very chaste. Mm-hmm. And it sounds worse than it is. Like it's not really exploitative. It's very innocent, in my opinion. Yeah. It's just it feels different, but at the same time, it does have that swinging. Bewitched doesn't really feel swinging 60s to me. No. There's a few times, and you know the sister or the cousin.
Yeah.
What's her name? Serena. Mm-hmm. Sabrina's a whole other witch. But I Dream of Jeannie feels like it was intentionally they have lots of parties. There's like I'm specifically remembering one where there's like a guy playing the sitar and stuff. Like it's of the time very much, and I like that more. Yeah. But you know what? Let's talk about supporting characters, right? Because I Dream of Jeannie has, he's got like the neighbor he's not really a neighbor, but he's got Roger who's always coming in. He's got his commanding officers.
Isn't that his coworker?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And you've got like the hijinks of like the military crew, like the Air Force, the top secret kind of a thing. But then because of who made the show and where the show comes from, we get like, oh, this is the episode, like, they go to Hawaii. And, of course, I love that, right? Yeah. And then there's the episode where, like, they go to, like, the Far East. There's an episode with Lurch from the Addams Family in it, in a totally different capacity. Yeah. The character, and I like that. The supporting characters on Bewitched often really get on my nerves. Like, Paul Lynde.
Who we love.
We love Paul Lynde. Like, over here is the Paul Lynde Halloween special, but I can't reach it.
It's just his character on the show.
It's so tedious.
So many puns.
And they're not funny puns. They're just like
they feel forced.
They're groaners. They're not dad jokes. They're granddad jokes. Like they're like, oh. But
I do love Endora.
Endora's amazing. I would have watched like an Endora spin-off show.
Yeah.
And we should point out the Agnes Moorehead, incredible actor. She pops up in like noir films. Yeah. Is it Dark Passage with Humphrey Bogart? She's in a lot of. She's a really good actress. It's so interesting too. Just a statement on this. We love this. We love classic television, the golden age of television. But it's interesting because this is how we were introduced to so many of these people, these actors.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of the time, they were very famous or highly regarded Hollywood actors that were coming back down. They were leaving, they were in their 60s. There was not a lot of work for them, so they go to TV. Yeah. And you get incredible performances or incredible talent doing very kitschy performances. Yeah. One of the here's my last point is like what they do with the premise. So I feel like I Dream of Jeannie, because it was I Dream of Jeannie exists only on the will they won't they dynamic between Barbara Eden and Larry Hagman. Yeah. And as soon as they do, because it's the whole thing is like, I want to be his girlfriend, but he's going on dates and he doesn't want a genie. And as soon as you can get, it's my 4-season theory, right? Yeah. You can get a few seasons out of that, but eventually you've got to, it's Ross and Rachel. Eventually you got to do something. And as soon as they did, the show was over. Because there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
Bewitched gets more life out of their premise because they're married already.
Right, there's no will they, won't they.
And of course they...
Well, there's the will Samantha use magic or will she not?
Right.
It's interesting, though, how they make them both palatable. Like, so this one, you know, the suburban life probably appealed to a lot of people because that was, I mean, they, you know, the man went and worked and the woman took care of the house and then they had their life at home and their kids and whatever. Oh, and they're having to deal with
kids, yeah.
Yeah, Tabitha, who also has the magic.
Magic.
Who's also a witch.
I hear she's got the magic.
So they used the home life to make it palatable to people that they could relate to it.
Yeah.
But then, you know, they did have Samantha being rebellious and sort of doing what she wanted to do anyway, but trying to, you know, smooth it over with him. Yeah. Whereas this one, you know, there's that single dude party vibe and the swinging 60s basically.
Tons of swinging 60s guest stars too. Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah. So, which might would have turned some people off because it was, I mean, not you. I mean, like the people who like the suburban lifestyle image. But then I don't know how to put this delicately, but the gender roles felt very
traditional.
Traditional in this one, which probably brought in two sets of people. They both were able to bring in a variety of people because of how they set up their premise. Like they both could be relatable to traditionalists and progressives.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're both fun, they're not too. Neither one of them are particularly aggressive with their messaging or anything like that. I feel like they're both pretty accessible. And
well, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
They set them up where they are accessible.
They're accessible regardless. Like All in the Family appealed to, if you're ultra conservative, if you were one of the kids who was liberal or whatever, like it appealed to everybody. And I think that's
Family Ties. That makes me think of
Family Ties. Yeah. But yeah, that's the mark of a great TV show. So I think these hold up. Really, this video is an excuse to talk about two shows that we love and to promote retro TV because we love classic television.
We do.
And I do complain about like the 4-season rule and stuff like that, but that doesn't mean that I don't still watch these shows and enjoy these shows. So check them out if you haven't. Hey, if you've never watched I Dream of Jeannie or Bewitched, now's a great time to do so.
There may be people who haven't seen them.
It's a great time to do so. And this stuff's not getting any easier to find. You know, we're lucky. We grew up in the Nick at Night era, and this stuff was on all the time. Yeah. And then Nick at Night spins off into TV Land, and then before you know it, TV Land was only showing like 90s and 2000s shows, and like I feel like we came up in
now we have MeTV.
Now we have MeTV. That's right. We came up in a golden era of this stuff for syndication, and I mean it was Mr. Ed, it was My Three Sons, it was Car 54, Where Are You, The Monkees, Taxi, Mary Tyler Moore. Shows like this. We'll be talking about them here. We're going to do this from time to time. So guys, thanks for joining us for this conversation. Of course, we want to know your opinion. Which do you prefer and why do you prefer it? Weigh in the comments below. So you got a place to leave it?
I think that's great.
Let's do it. Guys, thank you so much. Take care. And until next time, we will catch you later.